women of the world from the women delegates and advisors at the First Assembly of the United Nations.
It is important to consider the prevalence of violence within society.
The message to the women of the world is, arise.
The women's movement is a political movement.
Human rights are women's rights, and women's rights are human rights once and for all.
We are all witnessing a historic moment, a moment characterized by unprecedented solidarity.
Today, you have adopted a landmark resolution. We have decided to establish UN Women.
We are the first generation with the possibility to fundamentally change power relations between men and women. Together, we must turn this picture into a reality. Empowering women, empowering humanity, picture it.
And ill health, and they lack means to raise themselves and their families out of that desperate condition. These problems are embedded in societies, in traditions, in cultures, and they weren't established to discriminate against women, but they do. Women are at a disadvantage. And so we're trying to systematically alleviate some of these terrible problems and give them a way to earn an income, to pull themselves up and aspire to something more than the situation they're in. The Women's Empowerment Program is committed to giving women the means to improve their lives and the voice to make a difference. In Asia today, many societies have developed barriers to women's full participation in all aspects of life, social, political, or economic life. In many countries, girls don't go to school, and girls are kept home to do household chores. They can't read or write, they don't know basic math. There may be opportunities, but they don't know how to seize them. They don't know where to turn on issues affecting their societies as a whole, whether it's the environment, education, healthcare in their societies. Women's voices need to be heard alongside men's. Many women don't know their rights, and they don't know how to claim them. They're poor, they're illiterate, they live in a rural area. No one's ever suggested that they have rights. In many countries, there are laws and policies that either advertently or inadvertently discriminate against women. Women can't own property in their own name. They are discriminated against in business. Women have difficulty accessing credit, so even if they have a good idea or they have a small business, they can't expand it. In order for women to improve their lives, they must be safe in their homes and communities, have an opportunity to earn an income, and a voice in the decisions that affect their lives. That's why we work in these three key areas. We increase women's security by educating them on their legal rights, combating violence against women, and stopping trafficking of women and children. In Cambodia and Laos, for instance, we work with partners that take actual stories about how trafficking happens, and they dramatize it, and then they go out to the rural areas and they draw enormous audiences, and they educate communities about trafficking, how to prevent it, and the dangers of trafficking. Our programs expand women's economic opportunities through education and vocational training, and enabling women to become entrepreneurs, to start and grow a business. In Aceh, which was devastated by the tsunami, the Asia Foundation works with a partner to set up savings and credit groups of village women. Now women are helping to rebuild Aceh. We increase their participation in political processes as educated voters, as advocates, and as leaders in their societies. In Nepal, for instance, we trained over 100,000 women to know their legal rights. One of those women, she went on to become the first female Muslim woman lawyer in Nepal. Women are really desperate for these opportunities, so even very small investments by individuals can make a real difference. It can keep girls in school, strengthen women's leadership, create new economic opportunities, increase women's rights, reduce discrimination against women, and give women a range of tools to improve their lives.
In the autumn of 2013, Thomson Reuters Foundation surveyed gender specialists across 22 Arab states. The aim was to gauge the state of women's rights 3 years after the Arab Spring and as Syria's conflict threatens further regional upheaval. The poll looked at 6 big themes: gender violence, reproductive rights, women in the family, in the economy, in society, and in politics. To many people's surprise, Egypt ranked worst for women's rights overall, followed by Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Yemen, Sudan, Lebanon, Palestinian territories, Somalia, Djibouti, Bahrain, Mauritania, UAE, Libya, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Qatar, Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, and Comoros at number 1. The results were sobering. 3 out of 5 Arab Spring countries came in the bottom 5 states for women's rights. Despite hopes that women would be the prime beneficiaries of the Arab Spring, they have instead become some of the biggest losers. Egypt is the case in point. The experts cited endemic harassment, an increase in gender violence, a rollback of rights amid a rise in Islamist influence, and high rates of female genital mutilation for its place at the bottom of the ranking. The findings generated headlines and ignited debate across the world.
Women were better off under Mubarak than today. It's unbelievable when you think of what happened almost 3 years ago on Tahrir Square.
استطلاع قائم على منظور المستطلع آراء.
وتضع علامات استفهام كبيرة